roundup of round 3 of the Varsity Cup, and what a round it was. Not a lot of time this week, so let's get right into it. UWC going down again, this time on home ground right there in Belleville. They welcomed in CUT, the Central University of Technology, and that turned out to be a bad idea in the operation room because UWs really struggled up front, and in the first half they didn't help themselves by getting 3 yellow cards and a red card. And I think at one point they had 12 players on the field. Frustrating scenes in Belleville once again because UWs are struggling to have the grunt to compete with these teams all across the Varsity Cup, and CUT exploited again. The power up front, the power in the back line, by the way, for CUT, intimidating. Leon Prinsloo in the outside centre, Septimus Dirksen in the inside centre, Juan Smith in the 10, a devastating trio, and they really make their power felt to the opposition. They're not afraid to play it short and run straight into the defence. They set up their attacking plays in that way for the likes of Zach Bester on the outside. Now, they didn't get the chance to expand their play that much in some damp conditions in Belleville on Monday last week, but all the same, they are showing signs of ferociousness for the future. So if they can sneak their way into the top 4 this season, it is going to be an interesting challenge for any side that comes up against them, because they have the tools to take down any of the top sides, and they have so much experience of playing at this Varsity Cup level by now. Formerly, of course, the 4-time Shield champions, while UWs are the 9-time Shield champions. Real success in the Varsity Shield. As I look at that, I mean, 9 times, my goodness. Anyway, got to check that number again. I'll back it for now. Raiden Swartboy scoring a beautiful try for CUT. Just a simple dummy. I'm a simple man, a simple dummy to the outside. It'll have me done. 33 points to 7 at halftime, so the final score of 38 points to 21, slightly flattering for UWC, but of course they did claw those points back. So the second half for UW's far more encouraging, and they brought on Conweezy Conradi off the bench, and he's a real crowd favorite in Belleville, I can tell you that much. But UWs are going to have to find a way to get a win on the board. So far, it's been tough going for the Cape Townian side, making their return to the Varsity Cup, being promoted from the Shield last season after another victorious Varsity Shield season, a place where they thrive, and they created a great battle with CPUT over these last few years. I was just seeing a story on the Varsity Cup website that Kate Stadler is playing his rugby over in Georgia after tearing it up for CPUT last year. Hope that he makes his return to South Africa. That guy is super talented. And the likes of Tristan Lates having gone to the Blitzbox from UWC, the opportunities abound for Varsity Cup players if you can show the talent. Now, UW's, their next match is against Shimla's away. Oh, man. So that one's going to be a rugged experience. And they're going to have to really show up big time to get a win over there. UW's locked onto the bottom of the log with 0 points. They just missed out on getting that losing bonus point, or the 4 tries, rather, for the bonus point. And they'll be hoping to get some points on the board this season. They need to find a positive story here. Also, I mean, if they play their cards right and UJ lose all of the right matches, then UWs might find themselves in a showdown in the final match of the group stage against the Dirty Birds of UJ for that wooden spoon, which means automatic relegation, while 7th place means you play in a promo relegation match. All right, moving on swiftly to the Maroon Machine. Marties, 23 points to 12 victors over Wits. After that first round loss to the reigning defending champions, the Eagles of Northwest University, the Marties have been on the march under Kabamba Flores' leadership as their coach. They beat UCT on the Green Mile in impressive fashion with a seriously physical game. They knew those conditions very well. Wits came down to the Darnie Craven Stadium, and unfortunately for Hugo van Ass's Chargers, they lost their first match of the season. They were on 10 points, flying high, top of the log, unbeaten, scoring tries galore and playing the conditions well in those first 2 matches, but they ran into Amati's side, which is highly motivated now, and Juan Mostert, easy for me to say, Juan Mostert scored a spectacular try that really took the match away from Wits in the end. Another tightly contested match, so Marty's not blowing teams away, but blowing teams away is not what you need to do in the Varsity Cup. You just need to prepare yourself for those knockout stages, get yourself there, and then act right. If we saw just a few years ago, Turks won the competition from 4th position. While last year, of course, the Eagles won the competition from 1st position, and were looking like the best team throughout the tournament, really. So, Wits, does this mean that their bubble has been burst? What's next for Wits? It's going to be the Eagles away from home. It's a brutal competition, the Varsity Cup. Win a couple of matches and you think you're on the march, and then, you look at your fixture list and you lose one match, then you got another one that's a rough one. You've lost 2 on the trot. All of a sudden, you're holding on to the top 4 ambitions by your fingernails. And then, you never know what might happen. So, can't leave it on the line. Mark Snyman and Carl Smith, crucial for Wits, and they're going to need to show up in a big way. Marty's, as for Marty's, the forward power of Marty's, if they get this right this season, they could be lifting this trophy and put themselves ahead of Turks once again, and we know how much that would mean to them. The likes of Lonel, Tace Kitsov, Big V Matongo, Eric Basson, Roland van der Heever, they've got some serious kilogrammage up front, and they are imposing for any opposition indeed. And they know how to play the conditions everywhere. And of course, they've got that history and that institutional knowledge that's able to get them over the line. If they can find their way into those knockout stages, which they have every chance of doing, let's be clear. They're in 6th right now on 8 points. Wits are in 2nd on 10 points. 2 points between these two sides. And so that was a big win for Marty's on many levels. UJ, who have been flattering to deceive this season, traveled down to the Green Mile, and the UCT Ike Tigers took care of them. Quick sticks. Jonathan Roche, the player that rocks. And it wasn't quick sticks, let's be clear, actually. I was being harsh there. UJ played another fantastic match, but the weapons that they have were not conducive to the situation in which they found themselves against the Ike Tigers on the Green Mile. The Ike Tigers know their conditions better than anybody, of course. Right there, hugged up on the mountain with the wind clattering through. It wasn't as strong as it's been in previous matches, but it was a gloomy day in Cape Town, and the Ike Tigers imposed that gloominess upon UJ, who have lost yet another match, making it 3 from 3 losses for the season thus far, in spite of the positive signs that they've been showing. Jonathan Mukwena's men go down once again. Now, this does not mean that their top 4 hopes are banished. Ike Tigers are on 10 points in 4th position, as are the Wits in 2nd position, and UJ find themselves stuck on 3, having got bonus points from those losses which they have encountered thus far. And losses, they encountered them along the way. That's where they saw the losses. So 6 points away from CUT, who are in 5th, but really they've got to claw back 7 points on the Ike Tigers. And their next match is the Maroon Machine at the Donny Craven Stadium in Stellenbosch. So they're going to have to bring the March of the Marties to a halt if they want to find, some feet for their season. Prince Nkabinde is tearing it up on the wing. Having come back from the Greek was from the professional contract, he's showing what it means to be a professional, and he's tearing it up on the wing. Showed some serious power to get over in the corner. It was giving me Jacques Ferry vibes. And that try that he scored against the Lions all those years ago, for all you old folks out there that can remember. So, UJ got to get back on the horse. It's all in the back line for UJ, and that's got to change. They've got to find some grit up front. Baldwin Henson, what a player. Rowan Malchas, happy feet in the number 10 jersey. He was shining again, scored an absolutely tear-away try. They really know how to play the game. Robbed themselves of a potential comeback because the Ikes were looking shaky. It was an obstruction call in the end that took the match away from them. The talent of Ntokozo Makaza was self-evident once again. Scoring a try, knocking over conversions, I think 4 of them, another 2 penalties. His perfection is unquestionable. His professional future surely must be secured somewhere by someone, because this talent is not going to go under the radar. Makaza is a shining light there in that Ike Tigers side. And they have many shining lights, to be clear, including number 1, their coach, Tom Dawson Squibb, who's once again showing his talents. He's been to a number of finals. Just another coach who'll feel like he deserves to get something out of this Varsity Cup competition. But every single coach that is coaching a team will have the same to say. And they will rightly have that right to say that. Andre Tredu of the Shimlers, Paul True of UWC. He's done everything in the game, and he's got a really tough situation to deal with. Obviously, championship considerations are not with them. Hicho Fanas, everything that he's seen with Wits, looking at Northwest University Eagles, Burger van der Westhuizen, and he's already won the competition. So, by every right, he'll think I deserve to maybe have a stab at winning another. Randall Modiba of CUT, they have the underdog story that they potentially have to write in this Varsity Cup competition. He'll feel like that's a story he would like to write himself, so everybody will think that they deserve to get something from this competition, including Jonathan Mokwena, who's won it before and really would like to do something here with UJ, and he's built some seriously talented sides and lost so many matches by narrow margins through the years. Okay, I got seriously sidetracked there. Other players that shine for UCT in this year's competition are Johan van Rijn of the famous Van Rijn family, Reinhard Kroos, a devastating player up front. He really brings the balance to that UCT side. He's like the rug that holds everything together, if you know the dude. And Duran Kuvort, the kind of brains that Kuvort has available to him on a rugby field are what separates UCT from these other sides over these last few years. And you can see just how valuable that kind of intelligence is to a guy like Tom Dawson Squibb, who seems to be, from the outside looking in, seems to be a man who focuses and perfects the details of the game. Just such a great sight to watch, and going to have to keep your eyes on UCT because they just keep on making the knockout stages and keep on seeing themselves into finals. So cannot take your eyes off the Ike Tigers, of course, two-time champions of the competition. But the headline fixture of round 3, if you didn't see it, was the Shimlers of the University of Free State taking on the Eagles of Northwest University. 35 points to 26. The Shimlers ended up winning that match only thanks to a dramatic last-second try from Henry van Heerden, tearing away in Bloemfontein in front of a screaming crowd of fans who really came out to support their side, and the fans that rock. Thank you once again for supporting that. That was incredible to see. I wasn't there to see it, unfortunately. We would have loved to be there for that match because it was enthralling. The second half of that match was just so engaging, and the Shimlers shining in regular season once again. The question is, can they replicate this form when it comes to the knockout stages? There's going to be so much pressure on them, on their coach Andre Tredu, to get over the line again. They've had so many good teams over the last 2, 3, 4 years. Can they secure their second trophy? They'll really believe they can. With the likes of Pierre Ace, who scored a try himself, dominated up front, Ninkisa, the things that are happening in the pack for the Shimlers. It's not just power, but they've got finesse and pace and fitness as well. And Ethan Wenzel playing in the number 10, really looking sharp for the Shimlers. Kwesi Dlamini, another one of the forward players, shining. And Zane Bester playing at scrum half. He can play all over the field, as can his brother, who's at CUT. They played in the 9 and the 12 and the 13. Out there on the wing in the number 11, that's where Zach Bester was playing and went on a tremendous run for CUT, Zach Bester. Oh, man. Almost resulted in a fantastic try. Been robbed of some brilliant tries just by last-second shenanigans. It was the Eagles that almost scored a 95-meter try, multi-phase, cross-kick, all sorts. But UJ are the king of fantastic tries this year, that's for sure. Enjoying their rugby, in spite of the losses. So, let's see if they can turn that kind of form around. As for the Eagles of Northwest, they won't be perturbed by this. 35 points to 26 they lost. It was in the balance till the final moments. They kept on coming back into the match. They showed great signs, great form. I'm sure that the coach, Burger van der Westhuizen, will not be dismayed by what he saw out there. And Mpoku Beka scored a brilliant try. In Apalela Madaka and Mpoku Beka, they have some devastating talent in the number 9 position. Sean Christian Baxter is looking like a great addition to that squad as well. Calvin Clack is clattering people up front. Stefan Kriegel, their captain, is a dominant force as well. And Zinedine Robinson continues to shine in the 10. So, coming up in round 4, the Eagles take on Wits, Shimlers take on UWs, UCT Ikes taking on CUT, and the Marties taking on UJ. Don't miss it. We'll be back next week, and I'm looking forward to